I think it's very hard to see how we get out of it. I mean, without challenging those fundamentals, without challenging that fundamental vision of ourselves as competitive, selfish, novelty-seeking, accumulative beings. And I hear this a lot. I mean, I'm regularly sort of asked, even in an event that I was in yesterday, how is it possible to tame human nature? Do you think we can tame this voracious, selfish, accumulative species, to tackle climate change? And I think to me, it isn't so much taming as framing human nature, because I think we live under a misguided interpretation of ourselves, and that interpretation is encoded in capitalism. And so you have to somehow free us. You have to free us from capitalism in order to see that we are not those capitalistic, rational, economic, usually male, probably white, of a certain age, power hungry beasts that are parading a jungle in which only they, as alpha males, can prevail. There are many other sides to human nature, and those sides are not captured by the personality that inhabits capitalism. In fact, in some sense, that personality is an aberration. I'm not saying that competition doesn't have its place, but it's a vision of humanity that lies at the edge of functionality and possibly sometimes into deep dysfunctionality. And yet we've placed that vision at the heart of the organizing system. We've incentivized behaviors that belong to that dysfunctionality, and we've done all of that in the name of progress through capitalism. So it does seem to me, I don't think we can be simplistic about it, but it does seem to me that we have to disentangle our view of ourselves from the view that lives inside capitalism in order to confront the challenges like the challenge of climate change. And that is a process that does demand that we take a very skeptical view of capitalism itself and begin to construct forms of organization and incentives about how we live that are more in line with who we are as a biological species. The elements, yes, exist in relation to competition. The circumstances in which they are functional also sometimes exist, but they don't exhaust the possibilities for our species in a world in which actually much of our evolution was social evolution, and that would not even have been possible were it not for the parts of the human psyche that evolved in ways which are profoundly social, profoundly cooperative, profoundly altruistic at times. And I think this it's a way of seeing, if you like, a rescue strategy that doesn't ask us to change human nature. It doesn't demand us to tame human nature. All it does is it asks us to establish institutions, structures, and incentives that appeal to who we really are as human beings, rather than to that dysfunctional caricature that capitalism prefers.